My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. In today's Gospel, Jesus comes to Capharnaum with his followers, and on the Sabbath he is teaching. One of the fellows there has an unclean spirit, and he cries out, "What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." Now this is an interesting situation. It's an unclean spirit challenging our Lord, calling out, accusing you, Lord, of entering his life without really being asked, about being wanted there. Now, this is pretty shocking. We probably don't want to give you, Lord, such a bad entry. But perhaps not having a deeply unclean spirit that maybe I have, and I think about myself, a dusty spirit, a spirit that's accumulating dust, not really sharp, not really up to it. And what am I saying, Lord? Am I saying, what have you to do with us, Jesus? Or perhaps the question is, what have I to do with you, Jesus? It's the new year, and what have I to do with you? Maybe I have resolutions like everybody. New Year's resolutions. One of them might be that I go to confession more often. And maybe one of the other ones is that I go to the dentist more often. I don't ever seem to want to go to the dentist, or to confession for that matter. And what do the two of these seem to have in common? Well, being a young person way back, both the visit to the dentist's office and the visit to the confessional are rituals, it seemed, that were forced upon me when I was a child. Neither back then I felt all that greatly pleasant about, even though they offered so many different flavors of fluoride treatment. Wow, that was terrible. They had candy names, but they really weren't all that much like candy. And the promise at the end that I had to make to my dentist, that I would brush my teeth better, I would floss, I would be careful not to eat so much candy. It was like hygiene guilt when I think about it. I would break promises, and then I would have to, next year or whatever, admit that maybe I hadn't been that good about it, and I would do better this year. And always because they would find things that I was scared about. The dentist would find cavities. Oh no, and that would mean drilling and all that bother and pain. In confession, I would examine my conscience. Have I apologized to my sister? Have I been good? Have I done my prayers? More guilt and more displeasure. As a grown-up, I still have my sugar habits. And am I flossing still like I should? Brushing my teeth after every meal, as I should, perhaps. But then about confession also, am I going as I should? Now that it's not a thing as an adult made me to do, I don't have my Advent and Christmas time confessions laid out for me. Now I get to make my appointments, both for dentistry and for confession, as I want. And Lord, here's where they seem to be a little bit similar. I seem to still fear them both. In making my own appointments to see a confessor, there's where I have the advantage. I can put off things. I can put off confession for a long time, as I can put off, Lord, my toothache and finding out nowadays what's the problem with my teeth. You give me the grace to know the stakes are higher with my confession than with my teeth, and I know that. Maybe the venial sins I don't want to think about are connected to a deep-rooted sin that I don't want to part with. I know it's there, and it's making me uncomfortable. With dentistry, there's a new thing called sedation dentistry. I can put myself under, and the dentist can do all that work without me really having any kind of pain or even having to listen to them. But I know that a good confessor will never offer me that. He will, if he is good, he will want me to be good. C.S. Lewis said about his dentist that I knew I could not get out with having my teeth permanently set right. These dentists would start fiddling about with all kinds of other sorts of teeth which had not even begun to ache. They would not let sleeping dogs lie. If you gave them an inch, they took a yard. Now, if I put it that way, our Lord, Jesus, aren't you like the dentist? If I give you a little space, you'll take a lot. People often go to you because they're ashamed of some sin, but that's making their life terrible. But me, well, if I ask just to get rid of one thing, you're not going to stop there. Jesus, I know that you want my whole heart. If I let you in, you'll be asking for the full treatment. Sanctity, no less. That is such a focus on the negative aspects of my confessions. Jesus, help me to recall how much I used to dance coming out of my confessions, and still do. What a load taken off, and what a desire to begin again with this, knowing where I have to struggle, with this advice I can receive, with the grace you give me. The effects, they so much outweigh the uncomfortableness and the inconvenience and having to make the appointment even these days to go to confession. I need that grace. Who doesn't? That confession, let me think of it positively, Lord. You offered it as one of the great 7 sacraments. And I want to think about that you give me the tools that are not available to me outside, like the dentist. Well, he can give me a new toothbrush. He can give me free floss. He can even give me a fluoride brush paste. But no, with confession, I get much greater. I can be prepared for Eucharist. I can be prepared for lights in my prayer, for the growth in humility. That I will just go with that grace to confession and make a regularness of it. Wow, here's where the similarity of confession and dentistry, they part. How much bigger is the need for my soul to be healthy than my teeth? And how much more you want me, Lord, to have that healthiness, that sanctity. What a great resolution it is to want to go to confession more frequently. As a matter of fact, regularly. None of these good things happen if I don't darken the dentist's door or squeeze my way into the confession box more frequently. But let me pray too for the priest that I would meet, that he would be positive. How many times we go and see advertisements from a dentist office that uses phrases like no judgment zone or worry-free dentistry or dentistry for cowards. Well, in a similar vein, Lord, help me to let me pray for the priest, Lord, with your grace, and for myself to hear it, the positiveness, the focus on the virtuous life and its happiness that comes with it, instead of worrying about the moralizing that I fear. The Dominican Peter John Cameron says about preaching, moralism, it's an attempt to convert people to rectitude according to an ought, instead of according to an attraction. Accentuating the positive instead of dwelling on the negative isn't just good business practice. It's also a recipe for staying healthy, naturally and supernaturally. Beautiful smiles are attractive, but even more attractive is a virtuous and happy life. Maybe praying today I will make 2 resolutions. One, to be going to get a dental checkup more frequently, but better yet, a regular appointment with my confessor, no matter how long it's been since my last visit. Lord, I trust in your mercy. Let me, through your gift of grace, put aside fears that might be bothering me, put aside the reticence, what's holding me back from this regular meeting with you in a confessional, this cleaning of my soul, and the grace that comes with it, that stays with it, how invaluable that is, even if I can't pick the color and flavors like I could with my dental work. Bring to my memory, Jesus, the happiness I had, the dancing I would do leaving the confessional, and help me with the attendant resolution of examining myself every night and maybe other times in the day, that I might come up with the reasons of love, sorrow of love, to come more joyfully to that confessional box and meet you, Lord, there and hear your words of forgiveness. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, inspirations that you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help for putting them into effect. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.